There are three organizations that profit the most from our lack of financial knowledge: the banks, the corporations, and the government. Banks thrive whenever you are in debt. If you ever go to a bank branch, they will always offer you to increase your credit limit unless you are high risk. But if you are not a high risk, they will ask you, like in my case, they say, Mr. Guillot, would you like us to increase your credit card limit? And I always say no. You know why? They always profit. If you are in debt, if you have car debt, if you have mortgage debt, if you have credit card debt, if you have HELOC debt, whatever debt there is, they profit. This is how they make their money. So of course, they're going to try to offer you as much debt as possible, so you are stuck paying the interest over time and over time. And ideally, you will always ask for for more money, and you will never pay off your debt, this is totally against being financially free. Banks will always be eager to entice you with more debt. They will offer you air miles, points for dining, for traveling, for shopping, and they will make it as easy as possible. And if you push back a little bit, they will say, oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay it all at once. You can just make this little minimum payment of X amount of dollars and you will be fine. In fact, if you have debt, it will improve your credit ratings and it will help you later on to buy a house and to buy a car. So they lie to us in order for us to continue racking up that debt. Number two, corporations. Of course, they benefit when you spend money. We are in a consumer society, and corporations have all kind of clever advertising, copywriters, MBA, all kind of psychologists, all kind of people trying to think of way for you to spend without thinking on their products and service. Think, for example, Uber or Uber Eats. They want you to say, oh, instead of walking 50 minutes from place A to place B, I'm just going to order an Uber and click, and an Uber is right there when you could have walked 15 minutes. Or think about this advertisement that goes like this. You are tired, it's late, you have worked all day. Why not treat yourself? Tap on that phone and enjoy a delicious food at your doorstep. Anyway, so corporations want you to spend in their products, in their service, not to question, not to think about it. And that's how they make money, but that's how you get in debt as well. The third institution that benefits from your financial lack of knowledge is the government, of course, okay? So people earn money in different ways. They earn money by having a regular job, or by being an investor like I am, or by having a business. Well, out of these three is the person who have a regular job, the person who pays the highest taxes. And this is the person who has the least amount of knowledge on how to reduce their taxes, okay? If you are an investor like I am, well, I can always decide how much money I want to declare this year. So I do that. At the end of the year, I see, okay, my stocks went up X%, but I'm only going to declare X amount of money, and the rest I will leave it for other years into the future. So I can decide how much taxes I'm going to pay each year. And my tax rate is half of the tax rate of a regular employee. If I'm a business owner, also have a lot of flexibilities. I can also delay my revenues, or I can declare it against expenses that I have. So I can also play with my income taxes. But if you are a regular employee, you are screwed. And guess what? The government likes it that way. The government depends on people who are regular employees because that's where they get the highest revenue. So the government benefits from your lack of financial knowledge. So what can you do? It is easy to blame other people for your financial mishap. You could say, the banks, they are the reason why I am broke, because this high credit card interest rate that I have to pay to the banks. You could also say the corporations with the clever advertisements, they are the reason why I am broke. You could also say it's the government taxes too much, and they are the reason why I am broke. And while all these statements are true in part, the question is, now that you have this knowledge, what are you going to do about it? First of all, we have to come to the realization that if you spend every dollar that you earn, well, you are never going to achieve wealth. Wealth is going to get away from you. If every time you get paid, let's say a bonus or significant amount of money, you treat yourself with some luxury, let's say you go and travel to Mexico or whatever you feel like traveling, well, you are never going to have this little nest egg that you can use to invest later. If you focus on enriching other people, on spending money that will enrich the house builder, the person who rents you a luxury apartment, the person who sells you a nice car, if you enrich other people with your money, you are never going to enrich yourself. But at a given moment, you have to take responsibility. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, I am the reason why I don't have money. I am the reason why I am broke. And you know what? I give it to you. It may not be completely your fault. You may have grown up in a dysfunctional family that didn't teach you anything about money. You may have had limited access to education. Maybe you never felt inspired to listen to a personal finance podcast or a YouTube video or a book. Or maybe you were influenced by the wrong people. I was influenced by the wrong people at one time. When I used to live in my native country, Colombia, I was influenced by people who were always drinking, partying, and doing some dumb stuff that I don't want into it. I was influenced by the wrong people until I decided to take myself out of that environment. So, yes, once we acknowledge that, yes, other people are to blame for your shortcomings, financial shortcomings, that is not entirely your fault, that other people help you be broke, then you have to say, and now what? What do I do now? Now that I know this is my past, what am I going to do now into the future? And of course, I don't have the answer, but I can suggest some starting points. For example, how about if you start creating a budget? Yes, a budget is boring, but I have done it. The way that I budget is that I pay myself first. Whenever I got paid, I just put, let's say, $100 into my savings account, and then I spend the rest, okay? I pay myself first. Then the second thing that I did is that I started reading. Magazines at that time. I don't think magazines are a viable form of information, but when I started informing myself, I used to read magazines. So read blogs, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos like this one, and all this information start seeping into your subconscious, and then it start becoming part of you. And also make an effort to make less dumb expenses. Like you don't have to take an Uber just because you don't want to work 15 minutes. Just let that become part of your subconscious. You don't have to get food delivery just because you are lazy to eat. No, just get up and prepare some food. So start making little changes into your life, and little by little they will start adding up, and soon enough you will have a little chunk of money that you could invest. And where to invest? Well, you could start educating yourself, but if not, just invest it in a broad-based index. If you can watch some of my previous videos to see which broad-based index I recommend. But anyways, it's not hopeless. You can just start moving into a path of prosperity from now on, and maybe 5 years from now you will be in a much different situation. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until soon. Peace.